Hi, everybody, and welcome. Thanks for watching this video and for signing up for updates on the touch crisis. My name is Dawn Bennett, and I'm a healer, a speaker, and the best-selling author of The Touch Crisis. And today I wanted to share the 5 questions to help you navigate the ruts of your inner terrain. In other words, where are your beliefs and how have those formed ruts in your life? And this way we can start evaluating where perhaps there's a cognitive dissonance between what you believe and what feels right and true for you. In chapter 1 of The Touch Crisis, I discuss our inner terrain as well as the science of how touch is so important for brain development, for our hormonal regulation, and feeling connected to others, from infants all the way up through adulthood. Most of us do need more touch, and the science shows us why. The challenge is that most of us don't really take the time to think about our experience with touch. We tend to operate on the patterns that have been conditioned, and we're rarely forced to evaluate them. So I'd like to do that with you now. What I want you to do is I want you to think about, in public situations, how do you feel when you watch intimate touch? Like, for example, on a movie screen. And does that change in real life? So if someone's kissing or touching each other, even on the shoulder, or cuddling, does it change? Does your reaction to that change if you're watching that experience with family members or with kids or with a loved one? Number 2, how do you feel in a crowd when people are naturally touching you? For example, you're standing shoulder to shoulder, or you're in a subway or a crowded bus environment, or you're standing in line. Now, in times of COVID, people are trying to give each other more space, but there's still a lot of interaction. And a lot of times, the way that we interact with touch now has changed even from pre-COVID, from pre-pandemic times. So take a little note for yourself. What is that like for you? The third question I'd like you to explore: what is your visceral response, your gut response, when you hear a story of a woman not wanting to help a child in need on a playground? For example, in the book, I talk about my dad being at a playground with my nephews, and a young girl fell. My dad didn't want to go touch the girl because he was afraid of what could happen to him. And an elderly woman next to him was like, I'm not touching somebody else's kid. So here's this poor girl who needs help. And everyone, all the adults, are too afraid to touch her. What's your visceral response to that? Number 4, how would you feel at a park if you were watching a couple be really touchy? Maybe they're cuddling on a park bench, maybe they're making out. Is that different if you're on public transportation? Are there different expectations or different reactions? How about if you're in a restaurant? Is there a different expectation or reaction? Understanding how we're reacting and why in different situations, and look at your reaction, what's your visceral response, but also what's the belief that feeds that? Are there places where that's more appropriate than others? Does it matter the age of the couple? For example, if they're teenagers kissing on a bench, are they just 2 teens that are too hormonal? But if it's an elderly couple, is it cute? Why is that different? It's just something to explore. No judgment either way. Number 5, what do you feel is the right kind of touch for public? And how far is too far? What's appropriate and inappropriate for public? And also, as you think of these 5 questions for yourself, is there a dissonance between what you learned, perhaps from society, from a culture, from a religious background, from a training, from your experience? What's been true at different spots in your life over time? Because understanding these terrains, understanding these ruts that perhaps we've been stuck in, or perhaps we've moved and changed roads and changed terrain over time, and we've had different beliefs over time, all this can inform what is it that we want and need. with our physical contact with others. And then once we understand that, we can start understanding how we want to communicate that, our needs, our wants, and our level of consent to others. So thank you for listening. I hope these 5 questions are very beneficial for you and help you start exploring these ruts and remedies for your own healing journey and for your own touch journey. So once again, I'm Dawn Bennett, best-selling author of The Touch Crisis, signing off on this episode. Have a good day.